welcome everybody. My name is Richard Povall, for those of you who haven't met me before, and I'm the director of art.earth, and we've just had 2.5 days of extraordinary full-on symposium with the Borrowed Time event. Some of you were there, and this postgraduate forum, which we've done in association with Dartington, is basically our last day of the conference. So we're hoping that some delegates will join us. We've got some guests coming from actually around the world to join the event as well as obviously all of you who are presenting. So it's great to have you here. I just want to introduce Mat Osmond, who is has been the co-convener of Borrowed Time with me. It's a project we've been working on a really long time, and that was delayed from last year because of the pandemic, and we've ended up online anyway. But anyway, so I just want to introduce Mat.
Yeah, looking forward to meeting you. Hello, Sarah, and I'm not sure if there's any other faces I recognise here, but yeah, looking forward to seeing your work. And I dare say a bit more about Borrowed Time might slip out into conversations. I was thinking before the end of the day, Richard, I'd really like to flag people towards Bayo Akomolafe's opening talk, and the keynotes will be coming online sort of over the next few days. We had an interview with the filmmaker Jennifer Abbott, who just produced The Magnitude of All Things, a very powerful film about ecological grief. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you. That's probably enough for us. We're still, it's all there online if you want to have a look. I'll drop the link into chat.
Great, thanks, Mat.
So, I'm based in Falmouth, Cornwall, I should say.
So there are, we're beginning to populate the online record of Borrowed Time. Now the keynote, there's an extraordinary keynote from Bayo Akomolafe, and also an interview with Jennifer Abbott, who is about to release a new film, The Magnitude of All Things, which is around personal grief and ecological grief. It's a very powerful piece. It's doing the festival rounds at the moment, so we were thrilled to have had it available. Unfortunately, we couldn't make it available for today as well, but it will be available soon. I'm going to hand over to Tracey. Tracey, thank you so much for asking us to co-host this event, and we're delighted to do it, and it's great to be working with you.
Thanks, Richard. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tracey Warr, Head of Research at Dartington and Acting Head of Dartington Arts School. So welcome to this postgraduate forum on the theme of extinction. And thank you back to you, Mat and Richard, art.earth, for organising this event in partnership with us as part of the Borrowed Time Symposium. Today, we've got presentations from master's students from 3 of the 11 programmes running at Dartington Arts School and Schumacher College. All of our programmes are focused around arts, ecology and social justice. Dartington also offers a PhD in partnership with the CREAM Research Unit at University of Westminster. We've got a very packed schedule. So we're going to be rather brutal in keeping to time, and we have a few breaks built in where we can refresh our eyes with, real light rather than screen light. We very much encourage dialogue on the presentations to help develop these research in progress projects. So please do give comments and ask questions at the end of the presentations. But again, we'll be rather brutal in keeping to time. I'd like to give a very warm welcome to our keynote speaker, Mirko Nikolic, who is an artist with a wonderfully distinct practice, collaborating with the more than human, as you will hear. I think I guess we shouldn't start until 9:30, Richard, in case anyone's, going to pop in at that point. But we'll have to busk, won't we, for 10 minutes? Yeah. But I think I could add that thank you to those of you who are presenting. It's really exciting to have those responses to the call, and that there are presenters from MA Poetics of Imagination, MA Arts and Place, and MA Mind, Movement and Ecology today. And some of you are in the States, Canada, New Zealand. So I think a few people may not manage to join us until the afternoon because of the time zone that they're in. But, do try and stay for most of the day and contribute with the dialogue around everybody else's presentations if you're a presenter. And I think I've come to the end of my busking, Richard and Matt, so you may have to sing a song now.
I've got a question, Tracey. Do you have a kind of house culture about online chat on Zoom? I mean, do people just put a hand up? Like, we go into gallery view and see hands raised. How do you stack questions?
Yeah, I guess we could do hands raised. Yeah.
If we go into gallery, as long as we can all fit on one screen, it works. I guess if they get more of us, if there's two screens, it might be good to put your hand up in the chat, so to speak.
Does everybody know, now that we're all, probably mostly all Zoom experts now, but does everybody know how to do that? So if you look down at the bottom of the screen where it says reactions, and you click on that, and there's an option there to raise your hand. And once you raise your hand, I, as the host, will see that, and we can then bring you in to the conversation. It's probably helpful if everybody stays muted, but do keep your video screens on, unless it's the reason why you can't, and just to minimize the background sound.
It's helpful if you can remember to lower your hand again after you've asked the question as well, because we all tend to forget, and then you put about 8 hands up at once, and they're all old hats.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the host job as well. But I'll tell you a little bit more about art.earth while we wait around. We've been in existence since 2016 and actually grew out of a rather early and aborted attempt to launch an MA Arts and Ecology at Schumacher College, which for various reasons didn't come to fruition, but delighted to say is now coming to fruition starting in January, I believe. And art.earth is a gathering place. We like to think of ourselves as a family of artists and many other thinkers whose work focuses on the planet, focuses on the world around us. And obviously, over the past 5 years, a lot has changed in terms of the sharpness of the debate around climate change. So that has become a much bigger part of our work, although we don't consider ourselves to be fundamentally activists. We support artists and thinkers of all kinds, working in all kinds of different ways to kind of poke the reminder to poke us all into just making sure that our eyes are looking out and not in. And clearly, as time has gone on, that focus has become sharper. But Borrowed Time is very much about. It's about, the full title is On Death, Dying and Change. And the focus has been on personal loss and grief, as well as ecological grief. That idea was summed up extraordinarily and almost by serendipity with Jennifer Abbott's new film, which is The Magnitude of All Things, which will be, I think, on general release quite soon. It's doing festival rounds at the moment. And that film is absolutely about the personal loss of her sister, but then it very quickly moves us into talking with people who have a connection to the land, have a close connection to the land, who are grieving for the loss of the land that they inhabit, and they are not sure their children will inhabit. So it's a very It's unashamedly emotive film. It's intended for a general audience, but it is a very powerful piece of filmmaking that makes climate change visceral. It makes what we're all experiencing and what we're all seeing and what we've all known about. It makes it personal. It brings it down to the personal, and in the end, it seems to me, change, despite all the blather that we've just seen coming out of COP, which frankly largely seems nonsense and not urgent at all. It seems to me that the way it touches the individual in the end is going to be what makes things change. So films like Jennifer's bring that into sharp focus. Matt, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just a slight tweak on. Thanks, Richard. That was a really nice summary. Just a slight tweak on saying that art.earth is, that as art.earth, we're not activists. I suppose you could say art.earth is not primarily an activist space. It's a space for the arts, and obviously many of us are entangled in overlapping spaces of that kind. It just reminded me to flag. I'm based down in Falmouth, as I said, at Falmouth University. Really, we might have another conversation about what's going on down there if any of you would like to link up. But in the short term, we've got the artist John Jordan, you may know, now Jay Jordan, is coming to Falmouth with Isabel Fremeau to launch their new book, We Are Nature Defending Itself, The Entanglement of Art, Activism and Autonomous Zones. If you can get down to Falmouth, it'll be face-to-face, which is something in itself, just to have a kind of gathering of that kind. That's on November the 18th, and that will be going up on the Borrowed Time website shortly, hosted by Riverton Radical Bookshop in Falmouth. So, yeah, look forward to discussing those kind of overlaps more.
Tracey, I'm going to hand back to you to introduce Mirko.